Aren't there subjects in your life that right now are satisfying? And aren't there subjects in your life that right now are not satisfying? And isn't it interesting that on the subjects where you feel dissatisfied, you just can't get there from there? You can't get there from there. You can't continue to be dissatisfied about something and get to where you want to be. Your vibrational attitude, it just won't let you get there. Don't you like knowing that? So how do I take an unsatisfying subject and make it satisfying? Leave it alone. Focus on other subjects that are satisfying. Really? Yeah, because if you practice satisfaction, you see, you don't have to explain to the universe why you're in the receptive mode. You can use any subject in your life to be in the receptive mode, and you'll receive relative to every subject that is important to you. But if you take an unsatisfying, okay, I'm going to take this worst thing that I can think of, and I'm going to use it as a subject to get into my receptive mode. No, you're not. You're going to use it as your excuse not to get into the receptive mode. So you got to chill, get a good night's sleep, do a little meditating where you can find a glimmer of something that is satisfying, or have no thought at all. But we want you to leave this room with these words in your mind. I can't get there from here. Doesn't sound like the optimistic Abraham you've come to know and love, does it? I just cannot get there from here. And then remember, I just cannot get there from this place of dissatisfaction. I just cannot get there. This dissatisfaction holds me in a holding pattern where I can't get the clues. I can't get into the receptive mode. I can't make good decisions. I can't be in the right place at the good time. I can't have good timing. I can't translate thoughts to things when I'm unsatisfied. So I just give it up and focus upon things where I am satisfied until my pattern of satisfaction is so practiced that things that I felt dissatisfaction about before shift, because I'm not focused upon them in a way that they can't shift. We think you heard that. It would be helpful. Have any of you read or heard us talking about the emotional scale? Sometimes we talk about depression all the way to love and appreciation this way. Sometimes we talk about it this way. Doesn't matter if it's up or down, but you get the sense of the difference between things that feel really bad and the things that feel really good. So when you think about this scale, this emotional scale, and you've heard us say you can't get from depression to elation, but you could get from depression to revenge, or you could get from revenge to anger. And the people who know you would rather that you were depressed than revengeful, because you make more trouble for them when you get a little of your power back. But now think in terms of that as a little more satisfied. So call depression dissatisfied and revenge more satisfying. Don't try to compare revenge with joy, because of course joy is more satisfying, but you can't get there. And so is it really more satisfying? Is it more satisfying if you say, I am in a state of such anger, and somebody who's been to an Abraham seminar says, oh, well, you create your own reality. And you need to find a way to appreciate. And you think, or I could just punch your lights out, which would be so satisfying. So what we're getting at is when you try to make too big of a jump from where you are to some place that somebody's assigned you to be, that's not satisfying, is it? So if you could reduce this emotional scale to just find something that feels a little better, and we want you to use these new words. They're not new words, but new in this application. I'm just dissatisfied. What feels more satisfying? And if you'll just let each moment be one where you're more aware when dissatisfaction is pulsing within you, and then you will focus with an intent of feeling a little more satisfied, you will work your way up the emotional scale in record speed on every subject, and even those old holdout subjects will improve too. That's helpful, isn't it? Yeah.
Hi. I'm trying to calm my humanness that's beating my heart out of my chest. Thank you for seeing me.
Yeah.
I kind of came here to deliver an apology to Esther and Abraham, and a thank you at the same time. Your book, Law of Attraction, spit out of my vortex 20 years ago, and I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't in alignment for it. but apparently I was in alignment for Wayne Dyer. So in that 20-year period, I've gone through a lot of sifting and sorting and challenging times and triumphs and pulling out the lessons of everything, the good and the hard and the bad.
Well, it's all good. Some of it's hard.
Hard.
None of
Yes.
it's bad.
Yes, you're right. So right before that 20-year mark of when you came into my physical vortex, physical world, I had a little bit of a lasting judgment resistance of, I don't know, I think it was me judging the piece of me that is you. And
Don't overthink this.
okay.
Look at it this way, because we've been saying recently, and it's been connecting with you, you're just getting ready to be ready to be ready to be ready to be ready. And never be hard on yourself about what you're not ready for. Just embrace what you are ready for. As you are finding satisfaction in what you are ready for, then you're just ready for more and more and more and more and more and more and more of who you really are.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I got to that point, your workshop popped up here. And so I was like, I have to come. I know I have this message to deliver, but I also am hoping to receive a message as well from Abraham. And so I guess my request was, well, I guess it's a question and a request that if my angel team, as I call it, is Abraham one? Is all of our collecting energy one? Or do we have our own angel teams, like I call it? So I was...
Well, it's interesting because when you walked into this room, you were not exactly, but more like individual clumps of energy. And the longer that we be here together, and the more we focus together, the more the energy of the room becomes one. And so there are no separate clumps of energy in this non-physical energy stream. But as you, as individual creators and receivers, receive it, you're the one that translates us and separates us. Mm-hmm. It's the aspects that are active within you and what you're looking for that solicits and causes you to then want to identify us as different. When we are so in harmony with one another and we spend no time noticing our differences, but just feeling the benefit of the wholeness of our diversity. You got that? That was a big statement. In the early days, Esther would say, as different people were receiving, a lot of people would write in there and say, I'm receiving Abraham. And as Esther would listen to what they were saying, it was nothing like Abraham. And there were a few occasions Esther said, Abraham, what's going on? Are they channeling you? And we said, they're channeling your website. Because there's a lot of information there. But when you tap in and you feel the satisfaction of that alignment, you are the translator of it, and let it be uniquely yours. That's why Jerry wisely put Abraham-Hicks, so that it could be understood that this is non-physical energy that is translated through this particular vortex and this particular point of attraction. And yes, of course, everyone who is physical is an extension of non-physical energy, and you all have access to all of this. Everyone has access to all of this. This is not something that is uniquely set aside for someone like Esther. She just uniquely found a way. She meditated for 9 months and found the vibrational frequency that allowed her to sync up with us easily and steadily, and has been doing it for a long. So what's your question?
I guess I could ask the first question that I came in with was that the way you translated the step 5, I appreciate that and thank you for that. And so I feel like I've stepped into the step 5.
It's a good place to be. It feels good, doesn't it?
It feels really good.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
You find yourself not apologizing anymore, not explaining to others, not saying I'm sorry,
Yes.
not being hard on yourself.
So now, I guess, is there kind of this receiving that I am able to receive of a quickening of the cycles of step 1 when I get back to step 1?
Well,
of getting...
that's fine, but we just want to call your attention to the dissatisfaction that must be present in order for you to make such a request. You just can't get around it. In other words, this isn't going fast enough for me. Well, get used to it, because it can't go faster for you as long as you're dissatisfied with how fast it's going. Isn't it interesting? Esther argued with us a lot in the beginning. She'd say, that's just screwy. You mean the things I need I can't have? because I'm too needy. But when I don't need them, then I can have them. What good are you to me, Abraham? She would say. If I have a really strong question or a really strong problem, I can't receive the answer. Well, what good are you to me? Because when I have a question or a problem, that's when I need the answer or the solution, Abraham. She wasn't really that mean to us. But over time, she's come to understand that she's got to smooth out her vibration. And it's helpful to notice that the vibration of a question or the vibration of a problem are a different frequency than the answer. Just like silence is a different frequency than sound, or confusion is a different frequency than clarity. But you have more options than you are exercising. Let's say that there's a subject over which you are feeling confusion, and you're trying to get to the bottom of it, but you can't. You just get more confused. And the more you talk about it and the more people you talk to it about, the more convoluted and confusing it gets. Kind of like politics. It just gets bigger and more unmanageable. But let's say there's this subject and you've made your request and it's in the vortex. But then let's say that's not the only subject you care about. Let's say there are some other subjects that you care about that you are feeling great satisfaction about. So often you ponder and bask and muse and focus and sort of milk the satisfaction out of one of these other subjects. So you accomplish the receiving mode because of what you're focused upon, and now in the receiving mode you receive the answer to the question or the problem that you couldn't receive while you were focused with dissatisfaction. Isn't that clear? That's why wise people have said to you, well, let's just sit on this for a while, or let's just leave that for a while, or let's focus on something else. It's the reason that when you were a little child, your parents dangled something else that they knew you liked in front of you. They usually didn't know what they were doing, but they did know the effect of it was that you got happier when you were distracted from what was making you unhappy. And it's the same thing. Yeah. Really good. Have fun with this.
Thank you.
Yeah.